Okay, so Nicole, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Let's see. I'm a NASA scientist. I graduated with my Bachelor of Science in Public Health this past December. And I'm just here to kind of tell you guys about my path from, your age to where I am now and talk about STEM and all the things that you can do with it.
Okay, and can you just tell us, tell the audience just a little bit what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, so I've had a kind of unique path to get here. So I'm just gonna tell you all the different experiences I've had and how I've made my decisions, and give you all some advice. So hopefully you guys go into STEM fields in the future. It seems like y'all are all interested in that, at least because you're here.
Okay, so Nicole, your 20 minutes start now. Over to you.
Okay. Well, howdy guys. I know you guys just ate, so I want y'all to talk back to me. So on 1, I'm going to have y'all say a big Texas howdy. So 3, 2, 1. Howdy. Okay, all right. All right, that's energetic enough for having just eaten. Okay, so I got this tacky title, Journey of 1,000 Miles, because you guys are at the beginning, or kind of at the beginning of your journey to whatever career you end up in, and this is one of the first few steps. It's kind of hard at this age to think about what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So yeah, I'm a NASA scientist. I study microbiology. I will be going into my PhD program in microbiology this August. I have these 2 pictures because Ebola is probably my most favorite virus, and then bacteriophage are just neat. Yes. Yes, I'm a NASA scientist. I work with NASA. We're currently focused on long duration. Oh my gosh, maintenance of crew health on long duration missions. Do you guys know what herpes virus is? About herpes? There are 8 herpes viruses. So you've got your cold sores, your genital herpes, and then chickenpox or shingles. I know most of you guys got the vaccine, so it's not really a problem. Then mono, so on and so forth. These can be a problem because herpes stays with you forever. And as most of the astronauts that we're working with right now are older, they have probably gotten chickenpox. And so they're more likely to get a shingles reactivation in space due to a lot of the stress, because they've got radiation, changed sleep schedules, all that jazz. So we are taking saliva samples and other fluid samples and extracting DNA from that and seeing if there's any herpes virus there. And we're also trying to understand how the immune system is breaking down like it is and trying to stop that in the future. Our big thing right now is the twin study. I can show you guys this short little video. This is so cool. This is bonkers, this technology.
Some of the most exciting things that we've seen from looking at gene expression in space is that we really see an explosion, like fireworks taking off as soon as the human body gets into space. So we've seen thousands and thousands of genes change how they are turned on and turned off as soon as you get right up into space. And then also some of them even persist for a little while when you get back here on Earth. The twin study actually represents perhaps the most comprehensive view of human biology which we'll need when we start to go to even further places like Mars or longer missions that last deeper into space. This really sets the bedrock for our understanding of the molecular risks for space travel, as well as ways to potentially protect them and even fix them.
Oh, it will? Will it just go back? Okay. So yeah, twin study, it's pretty cool. A lot of the samples that we took were a part of that. So that data is coming out now and being assessed. But this stuff that I do is all good. However, the really important part is not what I'm doing now, but how I got here. So first of all, I'd like to ask you guys, I guess, do any of you want to be engineers when you grow up? Okay. All right. Does anyone want to be an astronaut and go to space? All right. All right. Do we have any aspiring doctors in the house? Okay, good, good. And then I'm assuming there are some people who don't know what they want to do? Okay, all right. So that's really the important part of this because there are so many choices and so many ways to get to where you want to go and figure out what you want. When I was your age, I thought I was going to be an engineer, and I was really into that. My mother had, got me hyped up on that, building things, robots, all that. From a young age. So in secondary school, I had the chance to join this organization called First Robotics. It stands for Inspiration of Science and Technology. And what they do is they get teams of students and give them challenges like tossing basketballs or picking up frisbees and throwing them across the field and playing with other teams. And you get 6 weeks to do it, and you compete with these teams all across the world. Our team, the Robonauts, we were lucky enough to be paired with NASA, so we had NASA engineers helping us build our robots. And our senior year, I guess our last year of secondary school, the seniors would get the chance to go work at NASA as an intern for a summer. But I'd like to show you guys a video of our basketball robot named after a shuttle. This works. I won't show you all the entire video. Just the cool stuff.
Go for main engine start. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 0, and liftoff for the final launch of Endeavour. Expanding our knowledge, expanding our lives in space.
Houston, Endeavour, all program. Roger, roll, Endeavour.
Houston is now controlling. Endeavour beginning to roll over onto its roll program.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling.
The mountaintop, walk on water, I got power, feel so royal. 1 second, I'ma strike oil, diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never giving in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in. Witness, I got the heart of 20 men. No fear, go to sleep in the lion's den. That glow, that spark, that crown. You're looking at the king of the jungle now. Stronger than ever, can't hold me down. 100 miles gunning from the pitcher's mile. Straight game face, it's game day. See me running through the crowd full of melee. No trick plays, I'm Bill Gates. Take a genius to understand me.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling.
So yeah, that's basically what it does. We make these videos to kind of show off at the end of build season what the robot would do and how you'd build teams at the competitions. So this was a great experience. I worked on the chassis part of both of these robots. We hand molded those wheels, put the motors together, a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm not entirely sure if there are First Robotics teams in Scotland, but you guys can always start one. There are also, I'm aware of like the STEM ambassadors, which are a good thing to do, and you guys are at the perfect age to apply for the Scottish Space School, which usually happens every June. 100 students get picked to go to Strathclyde, and then from that 100 students, 10 get picked to come to Houston and spend a week at Space School. You guys can apply to that online at the Strathclyde website. Just look for Scottish Space School Foundation. So yes, there are plenty of ways, or I suggest that you get involved with a lot of these STEM activities. Do you guys have robotics teams or clubs at your schools? Yes? Yes? Okay. What kind of stuff do you guys do? I mean, what do your robots do? You just see them go up and down? That's all? Okay, so what kind of goals are y'all trying to achieve? That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, if you guys have these things, get involved, or if you want, you can start your own. Because I'm almost certain a lot of these people around you would like to help you get one started. So yes, FIRST Robotics. Because of this, I had the chance to work at NASA to do engineering. This right here is the new lunar rover. My mentor, Mason, was key in helping design this because the original lunar rover, looked nothing like that. It just looked like a little buggy. And when it was on the moon, the astronauts felt more unsafe riding on that than, getting up there. So they had to completely redesign this, and I had the chance to drive it and also fix it because our mentor decided to drive it into a ditch and break it. So that was a lot of fun. You can see this wheel module that we took apart. And then I also had the chance to see this beautiful vehicle right here before it was released. And this was kind of designed for more of Earth purposes, more fuel-efficient vehicles, because this is completely electric. And, it can also go sideways. It can rotate in a circle. Its wheels are completely free rotating. So this was just, very cool. And it was great because I got to hang out with these NASA engineers and really see what the workplace was like. I would highly suggest that you guys go out to, there's plenty of companies here that would, hopefully, want to give y'all some experience. So I highly suggest just going out and asking to see what kind of work you can do to see if you like it. This is just one of my favorite pictures. Let's see. So moving forward, goodness, I've already gotten to the end. I have my PhD program coming up. I'm going to continue working at NASA doing the microbiology aspect of things. And then one day I'd like to come to Scotland. Because I love it here even though it's raining. I'd like to stay here. So yeah, I guess just words of wisdom that I've kind of sprinkled in throughout this talk. Go ask for things. You won't get it unless you ask. Keep your mind open, because it seems like some of y'all sort of know what you want to do, sort of don't. Go try it so that you know. And if you find something you don't like, don't do it. I did a desk job a few summers back, and I realized I will never, ever, ever do a desk job ever again because it drove me crazy. So yeah, that's just as important, knowing what you don't like. And then balance. So I do a lot of hobbies outside of just, working in the lab. I like to binge watch TV. We all like to binge watch TV. What kind of shows do you guys like to watch? Come on, I'll give you a magnet if you tell me what TV shows you like. Stranger Things. Okay, who said that? You did, okay. What else do you guys like to do? Reading books, you like to read? Okay, all right. Keep up with those hobbies, because as you progress through school and with your life, you're going to need that balance to kind of keep you sane and keep you from burnout. Because, things get really stressful and it's tough. So maintain balance in your life as much as possible. Work hard, play hard. What else was I going to... let's see. So balance. And keep a good group of friends. Through all of these experiences I've had, there's always been an emphasis on teamwork, because you're going to always go farther if you have a team with you. So keep your friends close, because they'll help you when things get tough, and they're also fun to do your hobbies with. It'll just make things more enjoyable. And so yeah, kind of skip through things, but do you guys have any questions? I will give y'all stuff. So please ask me questions.
Okay, so who's got a question? Down at the front. Lauren, can you pop over here, this lane here? I'm going to give you a little mic to speak in so we can hear your question when we record it later.
What's the hardest thing you had to do so far?
Desk work. Paperwork and data analysis is, probably the hardest thing I've ever done, next to calculus, because I'm just not good at math. That was another reason I decided not to go into engineering. But that shouldn't stop you guys. Math is fun, and you're better at it than you know. So is physics. Physics is great.
Who here likes physics? Hands up if you like physics.
Excellent.
Look at that.
Physics is a lot of fun, and you guys should do it, because life is physics. Right now, sitting is physics. So that's methicillin-resistant staph.
Next
Pretty
question.
cool,
Who's
yeah.
got a question? This gentleman here. Just lady, the mic coming for you now. Chance to be a rock star.
How hard was it to like move from engineering a mindset into a biology sort of?
It wasn't at all. I mean, you know, the human system and life are probably some of the better forms of engineering that have ever happened. So I mean, it's really easy to take that mindset and switch it. And I think it's actually beneficial to look at things like an engineer as well as have a biological background. Because you can always take ideas from living things, from humans, and put them back into your robots or whatever you're creating. So at NASA, they made a Valkyrie robot designed to be just like a human, similar to Robonaut, because the robot had to do human things. It had to fit where humans fit. So I think it's really important to have both those mindsets. So it wasn't difficult at all.
Okay, next question. Hands up. Come on, there must be someone else with a question. Oh, Brian at the back here. Come on, Lauren.
Knowing as much as you do, would you go into space yourself if you had the chance?
Absolutely not. No. Not only am I claustrophobic, I can't handle... I am claustrophobic, and I just can't handle being away from my people for that long. So, you know, because I got my friends, I got my hobbies, and I'm like, I don't need to go to space. I'm doing enough work for that down here. Other people who are braver than I can do that. Yeah.
Right, this gentleman here.
Have you met any astronauts?
Oh, yes. I'm here on this trip with astronaut Bob Sanker. I've also had the great opportunity of, living around NASA, and my mother has a bunch of connections with other astronauts. And I've been doing this space school kind of stuff since I was like 5 years old, and I'm 22. So I've had the chance to meet a bunch of them and come over here and watch their presentations over and over and over again. Let's get you a magnet. Unless you want. I've got a flu and an Ebola and hepatitis.
So many gifts. And now about this gentleman here in the blue top.
How long did it take you to make the basketball robot?
The what?
The basketball robot. How long did it take you?
That took 6 weeks. Because you're only given 6 weeks, so you have to get it all done. Our trick was that we built 2. So we have our flight robot, which was the one you saw, and then a practice robot, so that we could continue to make changes and iterations on that one. And then once you get to competition, you have a few hours to like update it. So that's how we did that. But that one took about 6 weeks to build.
Who's next? Oh, here we go again. What we got?
Yeah.
What's the best part of being an engineer?
The best part about being an engineer? Oh, man. Seeing what you're building come together. I think, like, because, you know, it's really cool to know the piece parts of it and, you know, make each part, but just watching it come together and look so nice and just work like it's supposed to, which doesn't happen most of the time, is probably just one of the most rewarding things. And that, you know, that goes for science as well, like having your experiment go the way you want, because most of the time it doesn't. So that's, I think, the most rewarding thing. Do you want a magnet or do you want a disease? Okay.
What a choice.
Wait, what?
We've got lady here. We'll come to you next.
Did you ever feel like giving up on this career or not?
Definitely. So when I was getting into uni, first I didn't get into the first choice university that I wanted to go to, so I was really sad about that. And then when I was there, I didn't really know a bunch of people, and I was kind of sad and lonely, and there were no clubs that I wanted to join. So I was like, okay, I'm going to apply again to that university. And that time I got in, but then I didn't get into the major I wanted, because at that point I was like, oh, I don't want to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to be a doctor, I'm going to study public health. And that university had public health. So I finally get into the university, but I'm not in my major, which sucks. So I have to wait like 1.5 years, 2 years. And then I finally get into my major. So throughout that entire time, you know, I was really distraught. Because, you know, nothing's going my way and I'm trying really hard. But, you know, you just got to keep at it, and it paid off in the end. Would you like a magnet or a disease? Huh? Okay. Have the flu. Okay. Okay.
What's the best part about working at NASA?
The community. I like there's lots of cool stuff happening all the time, of course, but I feel like it's a big NASA family, and I don't know if that's talked about enough. So I just like the people and the atmosphere, because everyone's just, happy to be there.
Okay.
Do you want a magnet or a disease? A disease. Okay.
Excellent
Do you want
choice.
hepatitis or Ebola?
Go big.
Good choice.
Go big. And we've got a few questions at this side, I think. Yeah.
What gave you the idea for the basketball robot?
Well, I mean, that was the challenge. Like, what do you mean? Like, why did we build it?
No, how did the idea come across?
Like the structure of it?
What gave you the idea? Like, oh, hey, let's make a basketball robot.
Okay, so we were given a challenge. First gives out like the game we're gonna play is robot basketball. So then we have free range to kind of design whatever robot we feel to accomplish that challenge. So we were by the organization that is First Robotics. They're like, go build us robots that will pick up basketballs and shoot them, or whatever you feel like making. You could also block the basketball. So there was robots like ours that pick them up, shoot them, but there were also robots that are just big blockers so that as they go across the field, they can block other teams from scoring points. So it's really just meeting the challenge given to us so that we can perform most effectively with the other teams there.
Okay, we had another couple in this area before we come back over here again.
Okay.
What's the worst part of being an engineer?
When everything breaks.
Working with other engineers.
That's the second worst part. No, like for that basketball robot, we had done really well in competition. We were on our way to winning the big world championship. And then on the field for the final match, we're getting ready, and the first few seconds, the robot's supposed to move on its own, and then people come and drive it. It didn't move. It died on the field, and we lost. And that was devastating, because we didn't know what was happening with the robot. We couldn't go look at it or fix it, and then we lost. We were so close to winning, and then we lost. So I feel like that's probably one of the worst parts, when it breaks in the time that you need it. But breaking a robot can also be a lot of fun. Like I mentioned, the lunar rover broke, and it was really cool because we got to take it apart and, figure out what's going on. Do you want a magnet or a red blood cell? Okay.
One more over there, and then we've got a young lady here too.
You want to catch it? Oh, I'm horrible at throwing.
What's been your favorite thing to work on?
Like within engineering or just in general?
Just in general.
I really like to work in the lab and do bench work. So I mean, pipetting stuff and spinning saliva down. Like, it doesn't sound very glamorous, but I find inner peace when I'm sitting there at the lab bench doing that kind of work. So I mean, that's what you guys have to look for when you're choosing a career path. Whatever gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. Because if you do what you love, you're never going to work a day in your life. And I know you've all heard that. So yeah, I like doing practical bench work in the lab. Magnet or red blood cell? Okay. Anyone else? I've got a lot more magnets and 2 more red blood cells. Okay.
What keeps you motivated?
I mean, just the love of it all, and I mean, just the possibility of finding something new. I'd love to be able to cure a really crazy disease one day, so it's just the exploration of the unknown, which is, similar to engineering, and it's similar to what NASA is trying to do, find new things. And it's also similar to what's happening with the oil and gas industry, because, you have to explore the ocean, find the oil, and all the other things that come along with finding the oil. So it's just a lot about finding new stuff. Magnet or red blood cell? Okay. Throw it on the ground. We got 1 more red blood cell. I didn't think they'd be that popular.
Young lady here?
Okay.
Is your work life stressful?
Not usually. Only when things go wrong. So during one of our times of work, we have all our samples stored in these really, really, really cold freezers, and they have to be maintained and looked at all the time, because if they go below or go up above a certain temperature, we lose everything. And guess what? it went above a certain temperature and we lost absolutely everything. So that's including old astronaut saliva, all of our things that we use to make reagents and stuff in the lab, all gone. Lots and lots of money gone. So that's the worst. Do you want the last red blood cell or a magnet? Okay, good choice.
Okay. And this chap here in the blue top, again.
How much do you get paid?
How much? Ha ha ha. Well, starting this August, I'll get paid about $40,000 a year in my PhD program, and then I'll also get health insurance. After that, I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna make, but you know, it'll do. You already have something, or do you? Oh, you have a magnet. Cool. I'd offer you something else, but I'm only got magnets now.
What's been the most enjoyable part of your journey so far?
Most what?
Enjoyable.
Enjoyable part of... Well, I mean, doing this, of course. This is a lot of fun to talk to you guys. I don't know. There's been a lot of points throughout this journey that I've really enjoyed, and I mean, getting accepted into my PhD program has got to be a fantastic moment. But you know, the people you meet along the way. I mean, I found a theater club at the university that I transferred to, and that really gave me a family and a support group, and that was always a lot of fun. So just, you know, experiencing it and rolling with it, it's lots of little pieces along the way that make it great. There's not one pinpointed moment I could say was the best. Magnet? She has a question too, so we'll go over her turn next. Yeah.
Have you ever given up?
Given up? I've thought about giving up. I mean, my mother would skin me alive if I gave up. So, yeah, she's right here. She can attest to that. So, no, I haven't, but I've thought about it a lot. Because, you know, being at not in your major, not at the university of choice, not having a bunch of friends, not having any hobbies because you don't have friends, is a tough place to be in. But not yet. Yes.
Before an engineer, did you want to be something else?
I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I did a day experience with the vet office, and they were declawing a cat, and it broke my heart, and I'm like, oh no, sick animals are worse, are far more painful to look at than sick people, because animals deserve the world. So I was like, no, I can't do this, I'd be depressed all the time. Let me get you a magnet.
We've got a teacher with a question, we can't let that go back.
I assume I know that being an engineer means working as part of a group, part of a team. Have you any advice? The young people from Harlow Academy are all working in teams on an engineering project at the moment. Do you have any advice for them when things get tough within the team?
Just keep all your cards on the table. You know, be honest and open with your teammates, because if they don't understand why you're upset or why you don't think something's going to work, then they're just going to get frustrated at you, and then you're going to get frustrated at them. So really trying to maintain that open communication, and, you know, remember that at the end of this team work group challenge that you're going for, at the end of the day, you're just people. You're people who are hopefully friends, and you want to maintain those relationships, because you know, you don't ever want to burn a bridge. So just keep open communication and try and be as transparent with people as possible.
Okay, we've got time for another couple of questions.
What got you interested in engineering?
I mean, my mother, because she's been doing the space school, and the whole goal of that was, you know, more or less focused on space and engineering. So a lot of the home influence, but also I just really liked, you know, taking things apart, finding out how things work, and then robots are just cool. So I got into the robotics thing because our physics teacher was like, you can either make a, you know, class project and present it, that, you know, a house that lights up or something, or you can join the robotics team and do that instead and get a 100 every time. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get a 100 every time. And then I ended up loving robotics because, you know, it was just fun to work with people and, you know, have a challenge and work towards something.
if you could restart, what job would you take?
If I could restart, I love microbiology, so I'd always want to be doing something that's related to that. But looking back, I would have loved to have continued to be an engineer. At the time, I was kind of afraid of calculus, and I shouldn't have been, and kind of let that chance pass me by. So if I could restart, I might stick with engineering. Do you have something already? Here, I'll give you a magnet.
How many magnets are you down to, Nicole?
I've got three, four,
that's
five,
about-
6, 7.
Oh.
I've got a bunch of magnets.
Quick questions, we might get through them all.
Do you do all types of engineering at NASA?
Yes, they have a variety of engineers, predominantly mechanical engineers. However, they need electrical engineers, chemical engineers, and biomedical engineers. So you can really kind of be any engineer and weasel your way into NASA. You can kind of be anything you want and be at NASA because they need everyone. They need all the skills. You have a okay.
Okay, here we go.
How many years did you spend in uni?
In uni? Technically four and a half. So more or less on time. My roommate, she switched her major like 4 times in 4 years and graduated before I did. That was kind of ridiculous.
Are you ever scared how fast AI is advancing at the moment?
No, I try not to think about it, actually. Hopefully we just use AIs to help us and they don't get too smart. Yeah, here.
What subjects did you pick when you were in like secondary school?
So we didn't have a whole lot of choice. So, I picked physics, AP biology, and then everything else was kind of required. I did choir as a, an extra thing. Then, we had our compulsory math and goodness, it's so long ago. It's not that long ago. So we don't really get to pick many of our courses. We're just kind of pushed in a direction, which I think y'all's system is a lot cooler because you guys can kind of focus. So yeah, I didn't get to pick much. So physics and AP biology.
Okay, we've got 3 more questions.
Did you get a magnet? Here, I'll give you a magnet too.
What do you wish to achieve right now?
Right now, I'd like to make it through my first year of my PhD program without feeling like I want to give up or, run away into the hills and become a hermit. Long term, I'd like to, finish, hopefully have a job, come back here, continue to work, maybe discover something really cool, get married, have a family, I don't know if that answered your question or if that's okay. Have a magnet.
Okay, 2 more questions. Hands nice and high if anyone's left for a question.
What's the best thing about your job right now?
The best thing, what's cool? It's new research. It's finding something new, like why the immune system is acting the way it does, and how we can stop that so that we can go to Mars. And I mean, also the whole Mars journey has been a really exciting thing to work on because there's a bright future for us if we can do it. So I think that's the best part, finding out about why the human immune system works as it does.
What did NASA kind of value as most, like your grades or your hobbies or interests or anything like that when
your tenacity and how much you want a thing, how much you're willing to do the thing to get there, and then, you as a person. Like, grades are important, but really the personality and your drive is what they're really looking for, because they want driven people. People can be taught how to do stuff, but, people who want to achieve are kind of harder to find.
I miscounted.
One more
We've got
magnet.
one more. Have we got anyone who hasn't asked? All right, this teacher has to be.
Engineering has so many different branches.
Yes.
So when you said you wanted to be an engineer, did you know what the branches were? And did you even know that microbiology was a thing whilst you were at school?
I was kind of peripherally aware of it, but I wasn't really thinking about it. I had kind of focused in on either mechanical engineering, civil engineering, or biomedical engineering. So I mean, I knew what was out there, but you know, because of the robotics and because of my life as a child, I was like, oh yeah, I think mechanical or biomedical, because my dad has a PhD in pharmacy, so he's been biology all of my life. So I think, did that answer your question?
Yeah, as you said, there's a lot of pressure. Like, some kids say that they want to be an engineer, but obviously that's such a
Big field, yeah. And don't let anyone pressure you into doing one thing. Peer pressure sucks. So you just got to tell them, no, I don't like that and I don't want to do it. Or if they think what you're doing is not as cool as what they want to do, it's none of their business. So stick with your guns.
Okay, and that's us out of time, which is such a shame because this has been the most lively Q&A we've had here for quite a long time. So thank you very much to all our participants for asking so many questions.
Thank
and
you,
can I just
yes.
ask you to show your thanks to Nicole?